Welcome to another Founder Wisdom podcast today with Nicolas Stephan. He is co-founder and managing director at Sparrks, which is in Berlin. It is a cool company that we're going to talk about today. Nick is also an ex-Bain, studied at INSEAD, cool university right there, instead. Should I say instead? And basically, this podcast brought to you by podpar.com. If you want to start, scale, be invited to podcasts like this one, podcasts are great to learn, to network, and to also grow your network because you can get leads, you can get clients. Podcasts are just great tools. They're exponential. If you're not onto them, I can help you start it or scale it, podpar.com. Nick, can you tell me a bit more about yourself and a bit more about Sparrks?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Charles, for having me here with you. And you already made a very good introduction. Yeah. Nicholas, or Nick, managing director, co-founder of Sparrks. We started beginning of 2021. Before that, have been several years with Bain & Company, mostly in Germany, a tiny bit in the US and the West Coast as well. Also started a transport logistics company, sennder, in 2015, which is now a unicorn, which I, though, left operationally at least after 1.5 years. And long back, I've actually studied medicine and did my PhD in that field. So yeah, quite a diverse background, I would say. But now I'm the very happy founder of Sparrks, lucky husband and father of a wonderful son.
Wow. Okay, so let's start with senders. How did that came about? And yeah, tell us the full story till the exit.
Also, sennder was born out of an INSEAD project. INSEAD, as you rightly said in the introduction, I think more known on the European side, but one of the leading global business schools. Did my MBA there as a medical doctor who went to consulting, had the chance to do an MBA there. Met during one of the programs my later co-founder of Sparrks, David, who is still at the helm of the company, the CEO there. And through one of these entrepreneurship courses that you sometimes do in these business schools, he came up with a great idea for changing, improving transportation logistics. And I had never the thought of becoming an entrepreneur myself. I was super excited about working with David. We got along with each other very well, and I thought, hey, what's the risk at the end of the day? So we started after graduating, started sennder in its first form.
And what did you guys do precisely, and why did you got acquired? How did the exit happen? How lucrative was it?
All right, so maybe to make it pretty clear, there is no exit yet. Sennder is still a privately held company with roughly 1,000 employees, and David and I, we started in, I think, July 2015, and I was with sennder until October 2016, and then out of different reasons, we can gladly talk about it. I decided to leave the operational part of sennder. I wanted to get a foot back into the healthcare environment, and couldn't see myself until my mid-40s or something in transportation logistics, although a super exciting industry it truly is. So I decided to leave sennder, to hand over the baton to David's official co-founders, who took over and then really scaled the company to where it is now.
Right. And well, you still have your shares in that company, and personally you haven't exited. What do you think will be the outcome of sennder in a couple of years from now?
So to answer the second question, that's very difficult to say, right? I mean, you know what the environment is at the very moment. I don't want to speculate on it too much, where things are going. Of course, hope for the best. And to your first question, yes, I still have a small stake in it, which I'm very happy about. Not about the stake in itself, but of course also sentimentally still the ties to the company. And of course, gladly, I'm also still very good friends with David, my first co-founder, who's still at the helm, as well as his two co-founders, Julius and Nicholas, who are, of course, still with the company.
And now Sparrks, premium business coaching for leaders and some talent, I guess. What do you guys do? How are you different? And yeah, how do you make money with that one?
Okay. So yeah, we are a business coaching platform, so to say, although people can't just freely choose and it's not a matchmaking thing. So we are a B2B company. We sell business coaching, one-on-one business coaching digitally, like we're talking now, to industry clients, business clients, usually companies between 1,000 and maybe 50,000 employees who integrate coaching, okay, Sparrks coaching, as part of their leadership programs in most cases. So most companies have, from a certain stage, obviously, people development or leadership development programs. And in order to enhance the learnings from these learning programs, to transfer learnings into daily practice, to make them sustainable, vice versa, to enrich the learnings. But also, if there's not a coupling to learning programs, simply to support talents and leaders in their roles, they get supported by one-on-one coaching with senior experienced business executive coaches. So that's the basic. And of course, what we are doing besides having a supply and providing and choosing and identifying the right coach for a certain individual with their personal objective, we of course have a platform where users and coaches can share information, where they can join the coaching sessions, where they have a learning journey which we are providing, which is very specific to the individual needs. So this is Sparrks in a nutshell. How we're differentiating. There's a bunch of coaching platforms out there since I think the entire topic of HR, people development got hotter over the last years. We're differentiating in twofold. One is the coaching format in itself. So instead of giving, let's say, a flat rate of coaching to someone, or typically leads between 10 to 16 coaching sessions between one coach and a user, we say, well, for most of these business skills, leadership skills, you don't necessarily need this long term accompaniment. It often is sufficient if, in a much shorter period of time, you give input and support, which, of course, if you give a very clear frame, makes things significantly more efficient, both on the learner's side, might be more receptive and eager, and of course has more bandwidth to implement it or incorporate it in the daily life. But also on the coach's side, to has just simply less time to deliver their value. So what we're doing is say, for one very specific development need of yours, you have the chance to work with a coach who is top notch on that topic for 4 times 45 minutes, right? And these sessions across maybe a 3 month, that depends on how things are going between the two of them. You have roughly 3 weeks practice phase between each coaching session, where you can apply what you've learned in the coaching session. And the next ones you reflect. So the format is one differentiator, and the clients really value the high efficacy of it and the value for money, obviously, as it's less coaching sessions per person, it's less cost usually, so you can scale it significantly more broadly and really use it as a people development tool and not just homeopathically here or there. And the second differentiator, which is also necessary if you want to deliver this much value in a short period of time, is just the quality of coaches. We do not boast with a pool of 1,000 or 10,000 coaches. We have a few hundred coaches, but all of them are highly experienced, very senior coaches. More or less all of them have at least 10 years of their own leadership experience and thousands of coaching sessions under their belts.
Right. And how much you charge typically for your coaching services?
Well, it totally depends. What we're doing is we sell packages. We say, well, look, let's first define who's a target group, what's the outcome, what should the outcome be, what do you want to use it for? So let's say company A, 5,000 employees, and say, well, for our first-time leaders, managers, and directors, let's say for 150 people, we would like to offer coaching for one person each year to go through one of these coaching journeys. Based on the volume, the price is being defined. So yeah, can't say how much it is exactly, but it's significantly cheaper than the most of the other competitors. While at the same time, the coaches that we are offering, they would not charge those prices per hour on the free market. They would charge significantly higher, but we take from them all the efforts of acquiring clients, all administration. We do everything for the coaches so that they can really just focus on preparing and conducting the coaching sessions. And that's why they're super happy to work with us to fill their free and spare capacities. But yeah, at the end of the day, Sparrks, we are not externally funded. We're bootstrapped. And yeah, started 2021, and this year we should also already be profitable.
Right. Well, typically, so how much coaches do you have? Let's start with this.
I think it's difficult. I don't know the exact number. I think we have roughly 250 at the very moment. Geographic coverage, 20 languages. I recently had to do a tender and had to count the languages that they're covering in the mother tongue. Bit of a bell curve. I would say 65, 70% of them are in the German, Austrian, Swiss region. We've got a bunch in the US, UK, other European countries, and then across the world, everything from Tokyo to Los Angeles.
What problems do you see leaders typically face? Like, why do they come to you, and how do you help them precisely solve their challenges?
Yeah. So the most common topics that they're choosing to work on with a coach are in the area of leadership, and they're specifically how to really manage the transition from being an individual contributor to a leader, right? And this can encompass several sub-dimensions of how do I better delegate, how to improve my conflict management competence, and how do I not only just be a manager, but a real leader. So this is really the number one topic. I would say 40% of our coaches are within the closer range of pure leadership. And the next area is 20, 30% each, or 20, 25% each would be around the topics of communication. How do I communicate more effectively online or on stage? And the third area is, we call it self-strengthening. It's around how do I better manage my daily life, bringing my private life and work life sustainably under one roof. How do I structure my day more effectively, etc. So these are the main areas. And we are all the business coaches because you asked how we're doing it, right? So we do not prescribe the coaches how exactly they should conduct a coaching, because that would be just putting them into handcuffs, not allowing them to release their full potential, right? So which tools out of the systemic business coaches toolbox they use in order to support the people with these mentioned objectives remains up to them. What we're just making sure is that when the individual objective is being written down, when the request comes, and say we look, okay, our coach managers, which of our 250 coaches now really fits very best to this or that objective? Because I mean, most coaches, they can coach on topics of communication, leadership, and change management, but not all of them are really the absolute top in that topic. So really see, okay, this is that objective, and of course you got some social demographic factors like work experience, leadership experience, industry function from the person who's to be coached. And then we look, okay, which coach really fits best to that. Of course, we have some algorithms that support narrowing it down out of those 250 who could be those few. But then at the end, it's really like handcraft of our coach managers who know the coaches personally very well. We have, of course, very detailed profiles, and then there's a matchmaking between the coach and the person to be coached. And that's the largest value, is bringing the right person together to an individual objective.
How do you select your coaches? What's the process?
Excellent question. Coaches are everywhere, right? There are so many out there, and the art is really into identifying the right ones. And so what we're doing is we have a multi-step process. So first, it's just hard criteria. Those things I've mentioned before. It needs to be a certified business coach from one of the leading business coaching associations. Then they need to have at least 10 years of own leadership experience outside of coaching. They need to have at least 2,000 coaching hours, right? So these are some hard criteria. When they apply, we, our coach managers, have first individual discussions with the coach, see, well, would this coach really fit our format, company culture, does that work together somehow, right? Do they click? Is this the right spirit? And when that's given, then the coach has to go through test coachings. So we're working with a few companies. It's mostly non-for-profit organizations, non-for-profit consultancies with top people who have been getting business coaching quite a lot already. So people who know and can maybe judge coaches. So they get for free the coaching, and we in return get from them a very thorough, honest, straightforward evaluation of the coach. And only when that feedback is excellent, then we take the coach into our coach pool, and then we start to carefully bring them onto our paying clients. And after each coaching journey, so after each of these 4 coaching sessions, there's of course an extensive evaluation from both the coach and the user. And when we see that a certain coach falls out of the range of good compared to their peers, we would just remove them from the coach pool.
Right. What's your growth plan? What's your GTM plan for this year?
So last year we grew 7-fold, and this year our plan was to go 4.5 to 5-fold in terms of revenue. I think we won't fully make that. I mean, I think the economic environment, especially the B2B world, has changed, and I think we got to know that in March. So our target is now to get to 3 to 5x top line, while at the same time just as increasing the bottom line. I think the first few months this year we were not profitable yet, but since then we are growing profitably. So we don't necessarily need this hyper growth top line. We just want to make absolutely sure that we are, of course, growing overall top line, but at the same time growing sustainably, because at the end of the day, we think it's a longer term play with long-term client relationships, and we just need to maintain the highest, most quality, right? And this, interesting, I think, also helped us this year. I mean, I don't know, Charles, what you think, but at least here in Europe, it got more difficult to acquire new clients. It takes just longer. The timelines from first conversation to say it's just longer and longer. There's more hesitation. There's more uncertainty.
Yeah.
So of course, we need to plan with that somehow, or at least cope with it. You employ a sales representative, and it might just take longer than anticipated for them to refinance themselves. But the good thing is that our existing clients, more or less all of them, continue their engagement after a contract period ends, continue their engagement, and most of them even extend it, which is fantastic, right? So you can simply grow your customer base, which is wonderful. But of course, need to somehow address the issue of how to get new clients on board when the economic outlook is not too clear and makes people more hesitant, especially when it comes to services that on a short term are not mission critical. Compared to sennder, to transporting a good from A to B, that just must happen. That's a must-have thing. Developing your leaders, I believe, is absolutely necessary in the mid and long term. But if it's about tomorrow, well, the business wouldn't die tomorrow if you don't give them a coaching tomorrow, right?
Right. I'm building some coach GPTs for coaches. So you get access to the coach 24/7. You get your questions answered via chat. It's not like a video call, and obviously it's less intelligent than a human. But how are you using on your side AI to grow your business on the sales side of things, on the product side of things, in any area of your business?
Yeah, super question. So first, really from a product content perspective, we hardly use it because we believe for most for 95% of the topics that we are addressing, you might be able to touch the surface with what is currently possible with AI in terms of like providing recommendations, coaching, so to say. But very quickly gets to a point where it is so personal and individual that real value is only created in the direct exchange. Maybe things will get there in a few years. At the very moment, I'm skeptical. I know a few people to try different things. For example, I think one of the most obvious ways would be an AI coach for presentation, right? Because you can record your video, you can give feedback on your pitch, cadence, mimic, gestures, etc. But even that is not sophisticated enough yet to be like really like a coach. And many other topics that go pretty deep into like the personality. So there at the moment we don't do anything, but yes, we are having a lot of data. Of course, it's all anonymized and very safely stored from our users and clients. But eventually, one could utilize that to inform something like pathways. This question from this person or this type of person could lead to this or that answer. So this from a product perspective. But however, we try to, as we are also bootstrapped, try to use AI or let's say Chat GPT, etc., as much as possible to leverage our own capabilities. For many people, the most obvious, which we're also doing, is in the realm of marketing, supporting the creation of blog posts, of articles, writing, rewriting things, in sales, supporting messaging, etc. Not to an extreme extent, because we're also seeing that people value the differentiation if they know something is done by a human. But where we feel it would be a yield loss if everything was 100% tailored, of course, we try to use it.
Your top 3 goals for the rest of this year?
Business wise, privately,
Boat.
Okay, so business wise, yeah, reach a 3.5x in top line, and have the team ready, or like a team ready that's like super hyped and excited for next year, for 2024, which I am quite positive about next year. The 2 goals. And privately, there might be significantly deeper ones, but one that just comes to my mind: run sub 250 marathon on Sunday in the Berlin Marathon.
Whoa.
I don't know how this is gonna pan out, and I know it's superficial, but it just popped out.
Yesterday, I think I had a sub 3 hour marathon as a goal as well.
Oh yeah.
It's not superficial. It's any goal that is really hard is worthwhile, because you get in the diminishing returns side of things, like slashing a minute will cost you like 10 hours of training. And so it's really hard. So I think anything that, is hard is worthwhile. So good job on that. Where can people find out more about you, Nick?
But me personally, well, just go on my LinkedIn, Nicolas Stephan. You can check out our website, Sparrks with 2r.io. If you want to find more about me, I'm not sure if that's too exciting, but you can go on the About Us, but also learn about Sparrks itself. And if you're anytime in Berlin, pop by. Happy to have a chat, coffee, or also have a city tour while running.
Love it. And I am Charles. That was another founderwisdompodcast.com with Nick Stephan.